In this video, I'm walking through a website audit of Pololu to see what should be done from an SEO perspective and walking through exact steps for optimizing structured data markup and my super detailed keyword prompt to figure out what keywords and phrases should be optimized from an SEO perspective to find transactional and conversion style key phrases. So the first thing I want to do is look at structured data and see what's going on with their website and if they have structured data in the backend code of the website. And if you're unfamiliar, structured data is code that goes into the backend of the website that provides information to search to better understand the location, the company type, the pricing, contact info, and if you're local or serve local customers, the exact geo coordinates of your office as well. And this test here is a structured data or schema markup test. So what you do is you put the website in, and on the left side here is the actual code itself of the website. And on the right side here, this is where you would see any structured data items that are detected. And right now you can see there are none. So the easiest way to fix this, there are tools that you can use with something like within Shopify or in certain content management systems that allow you to very easily have this stuff all input into the back end of the website. If that does not exist, there is a generator you can use. And what I'm going to do is walk through how you'd go through this, how to structure this, and how you can build this structured data setup for your site as well. So the first thing to do is, this is a website here called technicalseo.com. They have a bunch of different tools here. You can just go to Google and type in schema markup generator or something like that and find which one that you like the best. This one is pretty detailed with the options we have here. So I'm going to use this one. I've used it before as well, and go through and show you exactly what can be done from a structured data perspective. Now, this is just one data type we're building here. We can also look at organization. There are product types as well that we can build, and website general types here as well. For this one, since they do have a local, it looks like if we go back to the site here, to their about page, it looks like they do have a local address. So we'll go with local business. And the value here is we can build additional clarification for search as to what type of business it is. So you can scroll through here. You can see dentist, emergency service, employment agency. There's quite a few options here to build this out. And if we look here, we do have store, retail goods store. And then we can also specify this even further: bike, book, clothing, computer store, electronics. That seems like a good fit for a site like Pololu. And then what we would do is just build this out completely. So you take the official company name. It looks like it might be Pololu Corporation. So in that case, then we put the name in here. Image, you can do a logo image. So I would just copy the image address here, and it's not showing on my screen share. If you right click on an image, you should be able to right click and then view or copy the image address, or have the exact image that you want to put in there. So put that URL in there. The URL of the website itself. So we'll grab the homepage. Phone number. We will grab the actual phone number here. Price range. This should be a $sign. So you'd either put anywhere from $1 to $4 based on price. So if you're considered a low price vendor or store or site, $1 sign, $2, $3, or $4 signs. In this case, we'll just put 2. Most cases I would put either 2 or 3 generally, unless you know that you're high-end luxury sales or extremely high priced with your services or products. And then street, we'll go back to the about here. It looks like actually, if we go to contact, I believe we have the full information here. So 920 Pilot Road, it looks like, is the street. City is right here. All right, we'll go to Las Vegas and then 89119. So the city, Las Vegas, zip code, country, United States. That is the state. Now, here's where it's interesting too. We click geo coordinates here, and it auto populates the exact geo coordinates here of where this is located. And again, for local, this is hugely important to build that relevancy. So search engines, Google, especially if you have a Google Maps listing, can understand exactly where you are and that this site is perfectly associated with this location. And you can also, quick side note, you can add these geotags into your images as well that you upload online. That's a quick tip for you there. Now, next thing then to look at is if we have any opening hours. So if you know you have specific store hours, you can add those. Since this is an e-com style site, we'll just put open 24/7 here. And then social profiles. This can help us build additional relevancy to any social profiles that we have. So in this case, if we go back to the site here, and it looks like they have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So if we go back to the structured data generator, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and if we add these in here, take the links for Facebook. Again, I'm just right-clicking, copy link address for Facebook, and we can delete this at the end there. For Twitter, and then Instagram, same thing. And YouTube is getting cut off on my screen here, but if we just copy the there we go. We'll just go like this. Copy their YouTube channel here. And copy that whole thing. And we'll go to the generator, add that in there. And then you can add departments for sales or support if you have those as well. But in this case, we will just take this, copy this full structured data, go to the markup here, and we'll go to validate. And here we can validate either a URL or a code snippet. So we'll paste that full code snippet in here, see if it works. And it looks like it is validated correctly. So now you can see if they were to add this code to their website, they would have now an association as an electronics store as in their structured data markup. And all of this information is in here. The URL for some reason is not pulling in correctly, but the ID, I should say. And that's probably because I did not put the ID right here. So I would just put the ID in there and then it would work correctly. So right now it just has the example here. But then we have the logo is associated with them, their URL, phone number, price range, all their social profiles, their exact address and geo coordinates. And then, and this is not shown because of my face here. So the exact coordinates and then all of the opening time is right at the bottom here. So that is how you would set up structured data and how you would add it if you had to do this manually. Now, like I said, there are a number of different tools that allow you to do this automatically within the website. Backend Builder, Shopify has them. I know WordPress has them as well. But if you had to do this manually, this is the exact process you would go through to build structured data into your website. And again, the value for structured data is it makes it easy for search engines to understand and build correlations between your brand, your social profiles, pricing, images, location, all of that type of stuff. Now, next thing I want to do is look at some SEO data for this brand and see what's going on, what opportunities they have, and then also walk through a specific super detailed keyword prompt for you that you can use for your site to find keywords that would make sense for you to target, and then how to drill down even further to get better ideas for keywords. So this tool is called Ahrefs here, if you're unfamiliar. I put the website in here, and the couple big things I like to look at first, the backlink section here, and then the organic search section. And the backlink profile here, you can see DR73. So DR stands for domain rating. It's on a 0 to 100 scale. Essentially means how strong or how authoritative a domain is. 73 in general is relatively strong. It looks like here their Ahrefs ranking is 57,000, which means they're in the top 60,000 strongest domains on the internet. And that's extremely strong, generally speaking. Now, we're always looking at how this domain ranks how this metric looks compared to the sites you're competing against. So if you're competing against all 90s, then you have a lot of room to improve. If you're competing against all 50s, obviously you're way stronger than them. Next thing then is this section here I like to look at as well, backlinks and referring domains. And the reason for this, a referring domain is a unique instance of a different website on the internet linking to you. A backlink is a non-unique instance. So for example, you can have one referring domain and 10,000 links from that domain. A lot of times that would happen with a sidebar link or a footer link or something like that. And in this case, it looks like they have almost 1 million backlinks and 5,500 referring domains. So again, I'm not sure if there's a footer link or you're on a forum post somewhere in a footer or sidebar or something like that. But this is a huge discrepancy. And generally what this means, especially with 142,000 links lost, there is something, either a link spam or something went on. But when you have this many links, that can happen. So nothing super alarming. But the one thing that is relatively alarming is as we look at the traffic organic position chart here, over time, we're losing positions consistently. And that is not good. That's not what we want to see. So what I would look at here is what keywords do we need to focus on and what keywords would make sense to focus on from a conversion perspective. So with that, I've built a relatively detailed prompt here. And in here, what I've done is basically asking ChatGPT to come up with ideas that we would want to rank for that are conversion focused keywords. Now you can go back to something like Ahrefs and use this tool and then look through organic keywords in here, see what you're ranking for, things like that. But if you don't have Ahrefs or a keyword research tool, and or if you just want to get some initial ideas, this is a great place to start. So if you want this prompt, just comment below. I'll share this prompt with you and you can modify this for your specific brand or your website. And no problem sharing this with you. So like I said, if you want this, just comment and I'll share it with you. So the prompt here is, and I'm not going to read this whole thing because it's extremely long, but basically what I did here is told it it's an SEO strategist and a keyword researcher and gave it a little bit of info about the site itself. So saying that your e-commerce for robotics and automation and your task is to build us a list of 50 to 100 transactional and purchase intent keywords that we'd want to rank for. And then I gave it some additional guidelines here. We want transactional focus. So we want to prioritize keywords with strong commercial intent. We want broad but relevant. So we don't want something super specific like current sensor carrier, 30 amp, 3.3 volt. We don't need that much specificity with this initial part of the research we're doing here. That is potentially a great keyword to focus on, but we don't need to do that for this part here. Now, next thing to look at then is high ROI potential. And then we also do not want generic informational or low intent phrases like buy best robotics online or cheap robot parts or something, anything like that. We don't need those for this. And in general, those are usually not the best keywords to focus on, but it really depends on your brand focus and what you want to optimize for. So next thing then is we want to exclude hyper-specific technical keywords, like I mentioned. And then we want a diversity mix of keywords. We want to look at the main product categories, sensors, actuators, kits, things like that. And then analysis steps, giving it additional info to better provide us with what we're looking for from a keyword perspective. So we want to look at the homepage, category pages, product listings, any sitemap pages, things like that. And now we also want to identify core products. And again, if you want to use this for your specific market, you just have to change any of these types of things around in some cases. A lot of times providing ChatGPT with examples, even if it's not specifically related to what you're doing, it still makes sense and helps GPT understand what you're looking for. And then the output is still relevant for your brand specifically. And then we have an input here. So website URL. And then I'm telling it the exact output we want. So we want to output only the list of keywords and phrases, one keyword or phrase per line, no numbering, bullets, and introductions, things like that. So here's an example output. And then it provided all of this. So next step then would be, if you're doing this manually, obviously you can just look through this list manually and filter through and determine whether or not any of these are relevant for you. But if you're doing it with a tool like Ahrefs here, you can paste this entire list in here, hit search, and now we can start to filter by search volume and get some ideas as to what keywords would make sense. Now, it looks like in this case, there's not a ton of search volume here for these keywords here, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because some of these may be extremely valuable keywords to rank for. And then also what this provides you with is a good starting point for looking at this data in more detail to get ideas for other keywords, especially if you're using a tool like SEMrush or Ahrefs in this case. And you can see here, if you look at this first one is warehouse automation robots. Again, this may not even be relevant for you. And if that's the case, then skip it. That's fine. You can also rerun the prompt and in GPT here and potentially get a different output and test it again. But in this case, what we can do is look and see. So we have programmable robot kits. It looks like there's not a ton of search volume here, but the parent topic is programmable robots or programmable robot. And then we have industrial collaborative robots and not a ton of search volume there, but we have universal robots. So as we look through here, we can do a couple different things. We can look at programmable and universal and then collaborative and see how those look from a keyword perspective. So if we do this, programmable robots, collaborative robots, and what was the other one? Forgot the other one. Let's go back here and check. Universal. So if we look here at those and then universal robots, and then let's also include the singulars just for sake of research here and see how those look. And let's search and see search volume for these. So universal robots, collaborative, and collaborative robot both have significant search volume. And if we look back here at the site to see what's going on, and again, if you're doing this for your site, or if I was doing this and we're working together, then I would spend more time looking at and understanding product market, things like that. But in this case, I'm just doing a quick video here, researching this brand to see what's going on. So if we look here at, let's look at robots, robot kits. So if we look here, 3 pi, robots without soldering with, here's collaborative robots. So this page, collaborative robots, looks like it is slightly optimized for collaborative robots. So if we go back here, collaborative robots. So this is an awesome opportunity from a keyword perspective for rankings. And what I mean by that is a couple different things. First, we have a page on the site here already. And the only content on this page really is information about each of these specific products. And then secondly, if we look at page source here, and we look at the title is Pololu Collaborative Robots. So there is some room to improve the title here, of course, with optimization. It looks like structured data there is some very brief structured data breadcrumb list here. This is probably a default for whatever site structure they have. But again, room to improve structured data on this page as well. And then if we look at the description, you can see here, automate your projects with these collaborative robots or cobots. So that's another term to look at as well. And accessories. So room to improve this here as well. Now, how I would optimize this page better is looking at other keywords here. And this keyword list now shows all keywords and phrases containing collaborative robots. And now we have a list of 382 keywords, 5,200 searches per month, 15,000 searches globally. So we have collaborative robots, and then we get into some of the questions, which I'll touch on in a second here. And then we have cobots here. So it looks like cobots is potentially another keyword opportunity to rank for. But before I look at cobots, actually, you know what? Let's do this. We'll look at cobots and then collaborative robot kits. Let's see if there's anything for that. Okay, so cobots, there is. Let's look here. Huge opportunity here. Looks like Wikipedia. So let's see who's ranking for this. Universal Robots, ifr.org, co.bot, it's 38. Northwestern, Universal-Robots again, wiredworkers.io. So the interesting thing here is Pololu is actually stronger than, almost as strong as Universal Robots, about the same as this one, stronger than this one and this one. And they're not getting any of this traffic because they're not optimized for something like cobots, especially on this page. Now, if we look back also again at collaborative robots, it's like the same thing here. So co.bot is 38, but stronger than them. Then we have Wikipedia, then automate.org, they're almost as strong there. Universal Robots almost as strong. IFR almost as strong. And then this one almost as strong, stronger than this 60 here. So huge opportunity from that perspective to optimize this page correctly, and obviously the rest of the pages as well. But the last thing I wanted to talk about from a keyword perspective is the way to structure this page for optimization would be if we look at all the keyword opportunities, figuring out what content makes sense on this page to optimize for within this keyword list here, getting that content on the page. And for a product style page like this, what I would recommend generally is, zoom this out. Yeah, same page here. What I would recommend is optimizing the page correctly with the relevant H tags, of course, and getting content in there. So this is an H1, which is good. But then having content and enough content that's optimized specifically for the keywords and phrases you want to rank for on the page, and not just with descriptions here. So I would recommend content at the bottom of the page underneath all of these products where we can optimize specifically for some of these keywords. And then lastly, look at this question list here and figure out which of these questions make sense from an optimization perspective. So we can get content in there marked up correctly for structured data, or with structured data, I should say, so that we can then not only rank for search specifically, but also AI. That's a massive opportunity for AI rankings, is getting questions and answers marked up correctly for AI, so that people who are looking for your products or services can find you, even if they are not looking specifically for your brand. So that is a massive opportunity for them as well. And that is what I would recommend for research, content, structured data, and keyword optimization as well. If you got some value from this video, subscribe to my channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. I plan to continue posting videos like this, specifically related to industrial and manufacturing style topics and websites. And that's it. See you on the next one.